A company gets sold, then sold again, then again, 4 times in 30 years. A government, a tech giant, a Japanese billionaire, a car company, and for almost that entire 30 years, this company made basically no money.
Because to make money?
No. If you show revenue, people will ask how much, and it will never be enough. The company that was the 100Xer, the 1000Xer becomes the 2X dog. But if you have no revenue, you can say you're pre-revenue.
None. It was a financial black hole that kept getting passed around like nobody wanted to be the one holding it when the music stopped. So why did everyone want it? That's the real question. And the answer is way uglier than robots are cool. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you're gonna know exactly what's coming and why a labor union on the other side of the planet is already panicking about it. 1992. Some professor at MIT gets obsessed with a problem that sounds almost stupid out loud. Why does a robot fall over the second you stop holding it up? That's it. That's the whole question. Balance. The thing a toddler figures out by accident, and engineers couldn't crack for decades. He starts a company, no product, no customers, just one government agency willing to fund weird question, give us 10 years. And that agency is DARPA, the Pentagon's mad science division, the same people who funded the actual internet before it was a thing. 2004. You've probably seen the video. A 4-legged metal mule slipping on ice and somehow not going down. That's BigDog, built to carry gear for soldiers. The military's verdict, cool robot, way too loud, shelved. 2012 Cheetah outruns an Olympic sprinter, which is humanity quietly losing a race to something that doesn't even have legs in the normal sense. 2013, the one that actually matters, Atlas, built after Fukushima because somebody finally said, maybe we shouldn't send people into a nuclear meltdown anymore. Same year, Google buys the whole company, $500 million, maybe more. Nobody ever confirmed the real number. 3 years later, they're already trying to get rid of it because building search ads and building robots that don't fall over apparently require 2 completely different kinds of patience. 2017, SoftBank grabs it for way less than Google paid. 2020, Hyundai takes 80%. And this month, this actual week, Hyundai bought the rest, all of it, 100%, $325 million for the last piece. 4 owners, 33 years, basically zero profit the entire time, and every single buyer paid up anyway. That should bug you a little. Here's the thing nobody explains. Nobody was buying backflips. You don't hand over $1 billion for a cool video. What they were actually buying was 30 years of a machine slowly learning to move through a world built for human bodies, human hands, human tools, human spaces, and almost nobody else on the planet has that head start. Google had it and didn't know what to do with it. SoftBank had it and got bored. Hyundai is the first owner who looked at this thing and basically said, oh, we have the exact problem this solves. And the problem is uglier than people think. It's not that robots are stealing jobs people want. It's that factories genuinely can't find enough humans who want the job anymore. Over 500,000 open manufacturing positions a month in the US alone. One estimate puts the total gap near 4 million by 2030. Young workers don't want it. Older ones are aging out of it. So the official pitch is, we're not replacing people, we're filling seats nobody's showing up to sit in. Which is partly true, genuinely, partly true. Hang on to that phrase. It's about to get complicated. Here's what's actually happening, straight from Hyundai. No speculation needed. There's a facility opening this year called the Robot Metaplant Application Center. Its entire job is to watch real humans move through a factory and turn it into training data. Every lift, every twist, every little stumble and recovery recorded, mapped, fed straight into the robot. That data trains the next robot, which makes more data, which trains the next one, faster. It's not really a robot program, it's a flywheel. And the fuel is every motion a real worker makes on shift, whether they know they're the training material or not. 2028, the first Atlas units clock in at Hyundai's plant near Savannah, Georgia. Job 1, parts sequencing, basically fetching the right piece at the right time. Unglamorous. Kia gets its own robots a year later. 2030, if it's going well, they move up. Component assembly. Heavy, repetitive work. The stuff that wrecks a human spine over 20 years. And the scale is not small. Hyundai's told investors they want over 25,000 of these things across their own factories, inside a target of 30,000 robots a year by 2028. That's not a pilot program. That's a hiring plan for a workforce that, on paper, can't unionize. Boston Dynamics' own CEO set the bar that decides if any of this ships. The robot has to learn a brand new task in a day or two and run at 99.9% reliability before it earns a permanent spot on the line. Sounds basically perfect, right? right? On a factory floor, running every shift for years, it isn't. It's the line between, I trust this thing with the schedule, and we quietly stop putting it on the roster and never officially say why. Here's the number that actually explains the real motive, the one that doesn't make it into the press release. South Korea's Metal Workers Union did their own math and put the cost of one Atlas unit at around $145,000. That's less than a single year of a skilled line worker's fully loaded salary, except this version doesn't take sick days, doesn't need overtime, and never has a bad morning. The union did not love that math. In January, Hyundai's Korean labor branch came out and said flatly, no robot enters a factory floor without a labor agreement first. Their words, basically, this isn't automation, it's a cost-cutting tool wearing a hard hat. Hyundai's answer is the one every company gives at this point: human-centered automation. Robots take the dangerous, boring stuff. Humans supervise and train them. Nobody's losing their job. They're getting promoted to babysitting their own replacement while it learns the ropes. Which, sure, maybe, for now, right up until the robot gets good enough that babysitting it stops being a job either. Here's the part almost nobody's talking about, and it's not about the hands, it's about the brain. Hyundai's owned the body for years now, but the mind is coming from somewhere else entirely. Google DeepMind, a dedicated fleet of Atlas units, is getting loaded up with Gemini Robotics, the same AI model family DeepMind uses to let robots understand plain language instructions, instead of needing every single motion hand coded by an engineer. Translate that out of corporate speak. Instead of programming grab part, rotate 90 degrees, place in slot, you can apparently just tell it what you want, and it figures out the movement itself, using everything every other unit has already learned and fed back into the system. That's the part that turns this from car company buys robot company into something closer to a software update rolling out to every factory on Earth at the same time. Boston Dynamics builds the body, DeepMind builds the brain, Hyundai owns the floor it walks on, and as of this week, every single share of the company that made it. Translate that out of corporate speak. Instead of programming grab part, rotate 90 degrees, place in slot, you can apparently just tell it what you want, and it figures out the movement itself, using everything every other unit has already learned and fed back into the system. No outside investor left to get nervous about the timeline. Nobody left in the room to say, maybe slow down. So, back to the question from the start. Why does a company that makes basically no money keep getting bought over and over for 3 decades straight? Because the money was never the point. The point was 33 years of a machine slowly learning to move through the world the way we do, funded first by a government that wanted a pack mule for soldiers, then by 2 tech companies that couldn't agree on what to actually do with it, and finally bought outright by the one company that had somewhere real to put it. If you're new or already part of Darknar family and reached so far watching this video, please hype the video by clicking the 3 dots below. Thank you.